Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse, and in today's segment I wanted to do something a little bit different. I'm going to be, for the next few segments, answering questions that viewers submit. The first one that I want to address with you is actually something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is how do we prep for people with special dietary issues, namely gluten intolerance and celiac. There has been, certainly within the last couple of years, an increase in the amount of discussion circulating round about gluten intolerance and celiac disease and similar issues, dietary intolerances to different foods. And as someone who is gluten intolerant by necessity, not by choice, I have had to modulate my prep work a little bit. The first thing that I'm sure you will note is when you're dealing with storing food, you're going to note pretty quick that if you are sensitive to gluten at all, forget just wheat, but gluten in any form, it can significantly limit the amount of different foods that you are able to store. What I end up doing instead of storing wheat, obviously, I store jasmine rice. White rice, especially the enriched, like the huge 50-pound bags of them, I think that rice tastes horrible. It takes a long time to cook. When I spent a decent amount of time in Cambodia and Vietnam, I actually was spending some time in the rural areas, and I had witnessed the way that the local populace would cook their rice. The jasmine rice is a fantastic. There's jasmine and basmati, but I really like jasmine rice. What they would do, they would soak it overnight, bring it to a boil, turn it off, and keep the lid on basically, and the rice would cook that way. It was very efficient usage of the energy. When you're dealing with a longer grain white rice, just the cheap, mealy, nasty white rice that you get in bulk at Costco or Sam's, that stuff takes a long time to cook, especially if you're doing it just traditionally with boiling. Jasmine rice cooks a lot faster, so that's what I store. When you're dealing with spices and flavorings and things that you are trying to stockpile in order to add variety and flavor enhancement to your food, you also got to be really careful there. Soy sauce is a big one. Most soy sauce has gluten as an additive in it, and it will tear you up. So I store the Bragg's liquid aminos, and I should have it at the Patriot Nurses website, the Patriot Nurses supply stash. But the Bragg's liquid aminos is organic soy sauce, basically, and it does not have gluten as an additive. And let me tell you, friends, if you are storing up a ton of rice, you better have some creative ways to use it. Not just cooked rice, but rice patties, rice flour, using it to cook different things. So just be aware that you're going to have some variety. And a lot of the flavor enhancements have gluten, so you got to be on the lookout for it. Anything that has natural flavor labeled as it possibly can contain gluten, so you're going to have to call the companies who are manufacturing the products and check. Good luck with that there. I just try and stay away from anything that has natural flavor listed on it because it's just too much of a hassle. So those are two of the big components. The other thing is that you have to be cognizant that folks who have dietary issues, especially folks with inflammatory things like ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, they're going to have very specific dietary intolerances. One of my friends who has Crohn's cannot have anything with sesame seeds in it. Nada yada. So you have to be really careful about that too. For folks who don't have individuals that they're prepping for with special dietary needs, one thing that you can do, in addition to storing just the hard red winter wheat, also store rice. Rice is a pretty easy thing for most people to digest, and it's also very cheap. So store rice, but also store your dehydrated fruits and vegetables, because you don't want to just end up with starch. Yes, it will meet your caloric needs, but what ends up happening is people get sicker because they're not having their trace mineral content met. They're not having their vitamins, their vitamin intake met, because the food that is stored is stuff like goldfish. I mean, for instance, when you look at goldfish, all it pretty much is starch and fat. There is nothing redeeming. There is no redeeming quality nutritionally to starch. So you have to be cognizant of that when you're storing things for people with gluten intolerance. But also, it's not limited, in many cases, it's not limited just to the substances that that the person intakes. It can also be contact, like when you're storing shampoos, different lotions. A lot of lotions have gluten in them as well, or a wheat protein derivative, and a lot of people can't deal with that even topically, so be aware of that. When you're dealing with outbreaks, I get all into the spectrum from people who say, well, if I have gluten on accident, I swell up or I have cramps or whatever. I'm one of the people that the only thing that really helps me if I accidentally eat gluten, Benadryl, and distilled liquor. It's my rheumatiz medicine, as Granny would say on Beverly Hillbillies. But because it's a central nervous system depressant, it's going to depress the gut moving, basically. But you're dealing with some other things too. So this is a pretty specific segment, but for the next few segments, what I'm going to do is just answer viewer questions, just to, number one, to give me a break for a little bit, but also to give you guys some well-deserved feedback. There's a lot of really specific questions that I get asked, and I can't answer them adequately in a less than 10-minute segment. So I will try and do the best I can. If you have some questions that you would like answered, then make your way on over to the Facebook page. I just don't have the time to check the YouTube inbox like I have in previous installments of my life. But the Facebook page is where I do most of my day-to-day interactions with people. So I want to encourage you guys to like me on Facebook, and you can follow me there. Switching gears, I also want to let you guys know about the upcoming Patriot Nurse classes. February 24th is Fort Lauderdale. That's a great class. It's going to be oceanfront, and I'm very, very excited about that because I'm totally going to the beach for my lunch break. Then in March 15th, this is a Friday, March 15th is a San Antonio class. Then the 16th and 17th, I'm pairing up for a very special joint training weekend with Lone Star Medics. On Saturday the 16th in Dallas, Lone Star Medics will be teaching a dynamic first aid class. You can go to their website, lonestarmedics.com, and check out the course description there. Then I'm teaching the Medical Prep 101 on Sunday in Dallas. There is a special rate if you go to the website, my website, www.thepatriotnurse.com. There's a special rate if you sign up for both. This is an insanely good deal, folks, and to my knowledge, there is no one out there doing this right now. So this is a really, really great opportunity to have two different ends of the spectrum, to have a tactical medicine component, which is what Lone Star Medics focus is, but also the traumatic injuries component as well. To have that covered on Saturday, and then on Sunday to have my class, which the curriculums, the two curriculums are very complementary. So it is a fantastic deal, and I encourage you to go over to the website and check it out. In April, I'm in Yakima, Washington. May, I'm in Indianapolis. June, I am coming to Sacramento and also to Greenville, South Carolina. There's a whole bunch of new classes that I have listed up on the website, www.thepatriotnurse.com. So, hope it was helpful for y'all. And for now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later.